How much are Uber Eats drivers actually making in 2026? The grid-wise number is $18.06 an hour, and that's gross. But here's the part that nobody talks about. $10.29 of that is coming straight from tips. Not from Uber, but from the customer. That means that more than half the money that you make on Uber Eats is being handed to you by the person ordering the food. I actually started my gig career on Uber Eats. That was my first taste of this business. I went back to it one more time when my car broke down and I couldn't pick up passengers for a stretch. So I've been in those Uber Eats shoes more than once. Now, I drive Uber Black. That's a different game and that's different money. But I know exactly what it feels like sitting in a parking lot waiting on a ping. Today, we're using real grid-wise data pulled straight from their 2026 annual gig mobility report. That's to break down what Uber Eats drivers are actually earning, whether $1,000 a week is realistic, and what the top earners are doing that average driver isn't. So let's get into it. Uber Eats pays in three pieces: base pay, tips, and promotions. Base pay is what Uber's algorithm decides the trip is worth: distance, time, and demand. That's it. Tips, that's what the customer adds. Promotions, well, they're things like Boost, Surge, and Quest. Bonuses that Uber drops when they need drivers in a certain area or hitting a certain trip count. Now here's the breakdown straight from Gridwise's 2026 report. On a typical food delivery, base pay is about 43% of what you make. Tips, they're almost 50%. That's roughly half your money is coming from the customer's pocket. And Uber Eats specifically leans harder on promotions than most delivery apps. That means when a Boost or a Quest is running, your math changes more than it would on something like DoorDash. But promotions, they aren't guaranteed and they aren't consistent. You can't build a paycheck around them. You can use them when they show up. Here are the real numbers from Gridwise. The average Uber Eats driver in 2025, they made $18.06 an hour gross. That's per active work hour, meaning that the hours that the app is on and you're actually working. So the average week was around 11.5 hours. That's bringing in $198, but those are active hours. Now per mile, drivers earned about $1.27 for every work mile that they drove. In tips alone, they were pulling in around $10.29 an hour. That's the highest tips per hour any major delivery platform except for Grubhub, according to Gridwise's 2026 report. Now, here's where you gotta be honest with yourself. That $18.06 is gross, not net. Gas comes out of that, wear and tear in your car, maintenance, insurance, and bumps if you got a rideshare endorsement. Knock a few bucks off and you're looking at what you actually take home. But even with all that, the tip number is what stands out. $10.29 an hour from tips alone is real money. That tells you something. Uber Eats customers, they tend to tip better than most. So if you're working with this app, the relationship that you build with your delivery customers, that matters. The way you communicate, the way you handle the food, and the way you show up at the door, that all moves the needle. Now, the big question everybody asks: can you hit $1,000 a week on Uber Eats? Here's the math from Gridwise. At $18.06 an hour gross, hitting $1,000 a week means you're working about 55 active hours. Now that's active hours, not hours on the road, not hours sitting at home with the app off. 55 hours of the app being on and you're actually moving. Now think about this. The average Uber Eats driver works around 11.5 hours a week, and they bring home around $198. So getting to $1,000, that means you're working almost 5 times what the average driver is doing. Is it possible? Yes. Is it easy? No. To get there, you need one of 3 things, or you need all 3. You need a better market. Some cities, they just pay more. Dense urban markets where the restaurants and the tippers are all stacked on top of each other. Smarter order selection. The drivers hitting big numbers aren't taking every ping. They know their per mile rate before they even look at that offer. And if it doesn't hit their numbers, well, they decline. That's simple. Or you multi-app. You're running Uber Eats next to DoorDash, maybe Grubhub, so when one app is dead, The other one is feeding you orders. You're not sitting still. And if you're in a slower market, like a lot of mid-sized cities, hitting $1,000 on Eats alone is going to be tough. You're going to need a multi-app or change your strategy. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Per hour, Uber Eats wins $18.06 versus $12.43 on DoorDash. That's $5.63 gap in Uber Eats' favor according to Gridwise. But look at the weekly numbers. Uber Eats drivers averaged around $198 a week. DoorDash drivers, they averaged around $247. DoorDash drivers are bringing home more money per week, even though they make less per hour. But why? Hours? Well, the average DoorDash driver works 18.8 work hours a week. The average Uber Eats driver, they work 11.5 hours a week. DoorDash has more orders, more volume, and more time on the road. The drivers actually pulling in real money on Uber Eats aren't working more hours. They're making smarter decisions. Here's what the Gridwise data shows the top earners doing. Number one, they're selective. They know the minimum per mile rate before they even look at the offer. If a ping comes in below their number, they decline. No emotion, no second guessing. Now number two, they work the right windows. Breakfast rush, lunch rush, dinner rush, not random hours. The data shows pay density is highest during meal peaks. Working from 2 in the afternoon to 4 is not where the money is. Working 11 to 1 or from 5 to 9 is. Number 3, they use promotions strategically. Quest bonuses, boost zones, surges. They're hitting the ones that actually move their hourly, not chasing every flashing icon on the screen. Average drivers, they take whatever the app gives them and they hope. Top earners, they pick their spots. That's the difference. The only way to know your top earner or an average earner is to actually track your numbers. Otherwise, you're just guessing. Now here's the bottom line from all this data. Uber Eats income is real. People are making real money on it. But the headline numbers are gross, not net. Once you take out gas, mileage, and maintenance, your actually take home is lower than $18.06 an hour. Your real take home depends on 3 things: your market, your hours, and how selective you are with your orders. The drivers winning on Uber Eats, they aren't grinding more hours. They're tracking the right number and they're making smarter decisions. And that's where Gridwise comes in. The reason I'm comfortable sharing all these numbers is because Gridwise is the platform that tracks your net per hour automatically across all the apps that you run. Uber Eats, DoorDash, all of them. So you're not guessing what they're actually paying you, you're seeing it. And if you're running delivery and you don't know your real net hourly down to the dollar, you're flying blind. That's true whether you're on Uber Eats, DoorDash, or any platform. That's the Uber Eats picture in 2026. $18.06 an hour gross. More than half of it's from tips, and $1,000 a week is possible, but only if you treat it like a business. Download Gridwise, links in the description. Start tracking your real numbers and stop guessing what these apps are paying you. Drop your city in the comments and tell me what your Uber Eats hourly actually looks like.